Let's not overthink it. Let's just go. Hi, friends. Welcome to my sister and I'm joined by the wonderful, gorgeous, stunning Lilia.
And I'm joined by my wonderful, wonderful sister, Toa. I was not expecting all of that, mate.
Why don't
But
get
underneath
through? Why don't get through?
that,
Let's just say the conversations you'd like to have whilst sat watching TV with your family.
I mean, the kind of family TV people watch does not really leave space for conversation. Anton Deck is on. Anton Deck is on. And you want to be like, hey, mum, I think I'm gay.
I'm sure there's a perfect slot in Anton Deck that segues.
Why do you feel it's important to have these kinds of conversations?
Um, you know how people say charity starts at home, but I think it should actually be your understanding of the world starts at home. That should be the saying. And so that's when you're growing up and learning about the world, it's you're learning it from the people around you, those closest to you. But for me and for many others, we don't have the space to maybe ask the questions that we've always wanted to ask, or um, even just make statements that we've always wanted to make. And it's not just about questions; it's about a conversation um, between two people who share so much in common. That's our DNA. So that's why.
Yeah.
What pops up for you then? What pops up for you? Why do you think this is important?
I think a lot of people are isolated and within that lonely, and I think that that's because a lot of people feel they're not understood. And when I think about how our like relationship has progressed from the time that I've come out, I just think that there's something in there that we have learned that has made our relationship deeper.
Mm,
And I think that because we're not functioning on a space of tolerance, it's like a genuine, we want to learn from each other about each other. I think that that's what really solidifies it. And I think, I think maybe even, I think why it's important to me is showing that reconciliation between like family members is completely possible. Um, there's
so I feel like for our viewers, what are we reconciling from?
oh, what we're reconciling from. I guess what we're reconciling from. Broken relationships. Yeah, broken relationships. And by broken relationships, I don't mean like the relationship was like someone took a hammer and broke it. But I think there's been times where there's been a communication breakdown and that has then affected how we show up within the relationship.
Right.
Um, and that breakdown in communication has affected or had affected how we then relate to each other. But then because we share DNA being white.
Absolutely.
uh, we share a lot of our life experiences, especially growing up, is that no one will understand. We've walked, although we've not walked the same shoes, we've walked the same path in that we're from the
Mm.
same parents. We've walked to a certain point. We've walked the same like route, you
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
So I think it's for me it's really important to let people know that you don't, I mean, of course, if you have to cut off your family because your family is toxic, then you do what you need to do. But there's also room in there for healing. There's also room for going back to a base level of like love and understanding and stuff. So that's
Right.
why it's really important.
I definitely agree there as well. It's have you heard of that Japanese art where they fix broken things? Broken.
Wabi sabi, wabi sabi.
Is
Yes,
that what
yes,
it's
yes, yes.
called?
I think it's beautiful. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
might also be wrong. But it's wabi sabi. It's yeah, it's one of my favorite like philosophical thinkings or whatever.
Mm,
Um, because I think for a very long time, especially like in the context of like yeah, in the context of like consumerism and capitalism and all that kind of stuff, I think we really taught to believe that things can be replaced by something new, but that's not always the case, because things can be repaired, and not only can they be repaired, they can be repaired to a level that's even more aesthetically beautiful than what it was before, right?
Mm.
So the broken pieces can then build something more beautiful from that, and um, yeah, so I think that is a really
Do
beautiful
you
we've got to find that.
think that applies to this situation?
I think so, definitely. I think so, definitely, definitely, definitely,
That's
definitely. I
good.
think there's
And I guess this podcast is our gold glue that we're using to fix the broken pieces.
blimey, look at you dropping gems.
Absolutely, that's what I'm
Yeah,
known for.
wabi sabi. Look at you. No, definitely, definitely. And I think that there's something in there about being for us being able to share this journey as well. Um, because I know a lot of people who've like come out and then they have no like connections to their families at all after that, you know? And all of it is, I mean, ignorance is why this is there's a lot of homophobia and all of that within our communities. And yeah,
So, just for the people listening, then, what do you identify as? What do you...
I identify as queer.
And what does that mean?
I identify as queer in all sense of the word. I just, what does that mean? What does that mean to me? I
Mhm.
think for me, queer allows me to exist beyond labels. Then I don't have to start specifying and because for myself, queer explains to you that I am not straight, right?
Right.
Uh, but for me, it means that I'm not forcing myself into a box that feels tight and just or
Hmm. So it
you
allows
know.
for
But
whatever you want it to mean, basically.
yeah, it allows for yes, 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 yes. Like I understand that some people find comfort within them, but for me, I feel like labels, especially, are about trying to find ways of people to understand me, and I think I've deeply come to the point that I've come to a point of deeply accepting that being understood is almost like a mythical state of being, and
Mm.
that's all right.
Do you feel like then it's
And that's
something
all right.
people want to achieve but will never achieve?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Because I think sometimes if you're chasing being understood for so long, you start to lose parts of yourself, you know, because every time, everywhere you go, you're not being affirmed if you're fighting against the fact that you're not being understood.
Mm.
Yeah, you're fighting against it, and it's it's just extra tension, you know, extra tension, and that's not good.
Absolutely. And
Yeah, that's
the people you want to understand you might not even understand themselves, so you can't expect them to have that empathy and sympathy for you if they can't
mm.
don't have that for themselves.
Yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly. I've really been, especially lately, I've really been toying with this idea that, the body as a site of like inquiry, because the body has all the questions, all the questions and all the answers. But I think for me, just pouring into trying to understand myself means that I'm able to move with a lot more empathy around the world, because I am shining, like because I'm trying to understand myself. I'm able to reflect that. So the pressure is not then on an external being to
Mm.
understand me and validate my experience in that way. But rather because of my journey and that being so aware of my own journey, um, yeah, I think it's allowed me to really be um, quite loving, actually. Yeah, to be soft and loving.
Mm. So how are you soft in a world that sees you as a black woman, obviously, um, as uh, I call it black girl bingo, keyword buzzword bingo. How do you
Mm.
maintain that softness in a world that sees you as rough, aggressive? And
Oh, boundaries, 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 boundaries are my thing. Like they're my favorite thing. They're my favorite thing because again, I really, I'm trying to be better in tune with the universe. So what that means to me is then I'm trying to move and flow without expectations, um, without um, without doing something with expectation something's going to be given back to me in return,
hmm.
right?
So
And
surrendering
so
to whatever happens. Not
yeah,
accepting,
yes,
surrender. I
yes,
think there's a difference between accepting
surrendering,
and
yes,
surrender.
surrendering, yeah, no, no, that's definitely the right terminology. Surrendering to what's happening, and I think sometimes what that calls for is that surrender sometimes looks like stepping away from something that doesn't feel good. um,
Mm.
and being okay with the fact that you're moving away from it, especially when it's something that's like you're meant to like this, you're meant to enjoy this.
Yeah, so give me an example. This is all
That
very high level, abstract. So give me an example where that's happened to you.
you had an example. Okay, right. Let me think of a context that I can use it. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, no. That's a bit.
This is the conversations that we're having, sis. Let's dig
I
deeper. We
know.
can't promise. We can't offer this to say we're gonna do this, and you know, the first
I'm
example
trying to
you
find.
thought of is what you should have say.
Okay.
I'm waiting.
Okay, I want to prefix this to say that if you're offended, it's none of my business.
Okay, that makes me even more excited. Go on.
Tell me. We'll talk about it. If there's a conversation that needs to be had, we'll have it. Actually, no, no. Okay, yes. So I'll use friendships. Actually, I'll use a friendship as an example. I had a friend of mine. We were really good friends. We
Mm.
were really good friends. And I remember I was going through like I was having a crisis, right? And I said, "Friend, give me some space. I just need to, get back to feeling like a human being again." And yeah, so I said, "Yeah, give me some space. I just need, yeah." And my friend, who thought that they knew better than me about what I needed, kept calling me.
Right.
They kept calling me, they kept texting me, they kept trying to get in touch with me, right?
Mhm.
But because I was in the middle of crisis, every time their name popped up, it now started being like associated with like anxiety and like
Mm.
really not nice feelings. So I had to be like, mm-mm,
Yeah,
mm-mm.
that's not
And I had
happening.
to be quite like, this is not going to work for me because, first of all, for me, I feel like there's so many levels within that because I've communicated something to you instead of you respecting that and honoring that. And
Mhm.
it's not to say that if your friend has said, but I'm a very self aware person. So if I say this is what I need, best believe this
Respect
is what
that.
I need, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, respect it. Respect it. Don't ask any questions because once I have the time to rest and all of that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
I will contact you and I'll let you in. But in that moment, space, space. So it got to the point now where I just stopped answering. I stopped reacting. I stopped responding, and I just distant myself. And that's an example of how
Ooh. So why didn't you address it with them, and why did you decide to just distance yourself?
because it wasn't. It was more than one time that I said I needed space.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was.
So you
It
felt that
was
they didn't respect
continuous.
your boundaries whenever
Yeah.
you brought them up.
Yeah, yeah, and then obviously, like, I don't think that we should now. I should start to explain to you every day you call me, and then I should start to explain to you what the case is, um, because that's then very taxing on someone who's going through something. So that's one way. That's one way. What ways are you? Do you stay? Are you soft? Are you malleable? Are you tough
I
and stern?
don't know if I would describe myself as soft. Um, yeah, I don't know if I describe myself as soft. I would probably use a different. Is it an adjective? adverbally. I don't know. I think I try and maintain some sort of softness in my life, but if I was to use a word to describe myself, it'd probably be right. I don't have the vocabulary for it, but you know when you have a not malleable, because I wouldn't say malleable, but I'd have to think of this. I need to think of the right word to use for our next session, our next episode that you guys will definitely be tuning into.
Wee. Wee.
Um,
what are you hoping to learn from doing this?
I'm hoping to learn about you, number one, and hoping to learn more about topics that I've never really done research into, or I, not surrounded by um, people who sort of have those certain conversations, maybe around queerness, sexuality, and also I'm hoping to just have a good time and have a laugh. Really, I think I just want to enjoy the process of creating something that I don't think is out there, and I've never been able to find something that where I see two people who look like me having honest, open conversations about anything and everything. So I want to have fun in the process. And yourself?
Myself, what do I hope to learn?
Hmm.
Yeah, I want to learn more about you. How you
You
process
can't copy and
information.
paste my answer. I'm not having it.
I'm using synonyms in some bits.
You can't copy and paste my answer. Mm-mm.
I'm using synonyms. If we put it through Tenetin, it would not place it as copy.
Wouldn't pass at all. 100% fraudulent.
Um, I'm hoping to learn um, about openness, how to bring in more openness, because I think obviously this conversation is going to make us be open on a very different level, and even the conversations that we'll be having, are not really the kind of like conversations that I had in like familial spaces.
Mm-hmm.
So that will require a different level of openness and vulnerability from me and from you. So I'm hoping to learn and see where that takes us, because I think even though I've known you your whole life.
Which sounds
um,
very weird to hear that.
can you imagine? That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've known you since you were a ginger little baby.
Don't expose me.
You what?
Don't expose me.
Gotta let people know. You be your picture if we had if you were on Instagram or Twitter or whatever. Whenever conversations about black people and like blonde hair, the baby pictures would be out there.
Yeah, give those
The better
give those Aboriginal. Are they Melanesian or Aboriginal? Give those a break and use my picture instead.
yeah. um I'm hoping to I'm also hoping to learn what other people are thinking, because then the hope is that this starts conversations and people want to have the conversations with us. So I'm hoping to then widen my perspective on different experiences and different ways of being.
Mhm.
um I'm hoping to find different ways of loving you. Yeah, from the
Oh,
openness. Yeah.
wow, that's
um
so
because obviously,
touching.
all right,
That is so
yeah, all right.
touching.
So, like, I know you in the context of my sister,
Hmm.
but this is another context of like knowing you, right? Because this is gonna be, yeah, it's a different context of knowing you. So it's a different way of learning how to love you, and that's one of the things that I want to learn.
Mhm.
Um, and also, I want to learn how to express myself in different ways through this way, because mostly I do writing and all that kind of stuff. So this is a way, a venue of like expression.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to learn how to navigate this as a form of expression, audio as a form of expression.
I'm really
Um,
excited. I'm really excited about where this is going to go, and what type of conversations we're going to have. In the description will be our Snapchat and Instagram, and if there's anything you want us to talk about, we can talk about it. Um, but I'm really looking forward to see to where this is going to go.
okay, so to close our introduction episode, I want to know, who wouldn't you want to listen to this?
Oh, that's a good question. Who wouldn't I want to listen to this podcast? Probably some of the people that I've dated, because I am going to be spilling the tea. Absolutely. So if we've ever dated in the past, do not be belling up my WhatsApp after you've heard this. What about you? Who wouldn't you want to listen to this?
Potential future lovers.
Oh, so for me it's the past. For you it's the future. Okay.
I was going to be like, are you gonna talk to you? Are you gonna talk about me on your little show?
Oh my gosh, Dad! They can't let
That
anyone
would not be.
disrespect like that.
That would not be okay. That would be like, oh my god.
To be honest, we could use it and have them on the show. So if you hear anything on the show that you would like to discuss, we won't be discussing it on WhatsApp. We will be discussing it live and direct.
Pick your battles wisely.
Yeah. This is the only forum that we're going to discuss anything on the show that we've mentioned on the show.
So all show related content only be discussed on the show, right?
Absolutely.
So that's,
I like that.
I'm down for that.
I like that.
I like that too. I like that too. So, okay, now to really, really close it, one fun fact about you.
One fun fact, you're coming like some work induction week.
I know.
It's my first day of work and I gotta say one fun fact. What? Yeah, let's reveal something about ourselves that is cool, interesting. So my fun fact is I'm actually planning to travel to 30 countries before I'm 30. So
How old are you now?
how do I know? I'm not revealing that information. No, I'm joking. So I got 7 years to hit 30 countries. No, how many have I done so to date? Yeah, I've got 30 years to hit my target. 30 years? 7 years.
30 years.
No, sorry, my math
How
is
many
not
countries
massive.
have you done so far then? How many countries have you done so far?
I think it's 12. So I'm nearly halfway
What's been your
there.
favorite?
My favourite country of all time is Nepal. Kathmandu is my favourite place in the entire world. If anyone wants to pay for my flight to Kathmandu, I am not going to say no.
What's your cash app? What's your cash app?
What's my Yeah, leave that in the description bar. So, what's your fun fact?
Oh gosh, what's my fun fact? Oh bloody hell! I asked that and I didn't
Yeah,
think of
you
the
should have
answer.
been prepping.
Me, this is why even at the work things, I'm always like, oh my gosh. What is going on?
You should be using that time to think. Yeah.
I never. Anyway, so okay, what's a fun fact about me? Oh my gosh. Oh, I licked the lolly. I never said sorry.
Oh wow, you're a very naughty girl. Why am I flirting with you over? This is insert the wind.
What's that other wind?
Pardon?
What was all that? It sounded like it was like in a windy tunnel for like a split second.
Oh no, I don't know.
Yeah. So my fun fact is I'm a fourth.
Why did you come shouting?
My fun fact is I black English.
Yeah, that is.
Every
I
time I
can
was
tell
speaking
you
English, I
that.
don't know what's gonna come out.
I can tell you that for
I don't know
free.
what's gonna come out.
You got so passionate. Yeah, but fun fact.
Oh, man. Yeah, my friend. This
Ah.
is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying.
Oh, that's
The
so
English
funny.
language sometimes just completely invades my mouth. Oh.
Say it's been your girl Lilia,
And it's been your girl Toa. I mean, but then that sounds like it's
and thank you for
you and
listening.
you, because you said my
What?
name. I said,
Yeah, I know, but we did that in the
all right.
beginning.
This is what real life looks like.
OMG. Looks like, yeah, this is
Real
what it
life.
looks like.
All right. Thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed your time, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode.